All right, well, what is up, my brothers from another mother? It's not for rational sisters today. This is for the boys. What a great day to do my first video in the new R8. It's going to be on how to get divorced like a boss, or at least how to get divorced properly without screwing up your life, parenting arrangements, losing your assets and control of your assets. The most important thing that you need to do, I'm just going to tell you this right away, is stay in the matrimonial home until such time as you have a shared parenting plan. And I'm going to tell you why in a moment. But before that, I'm going to open it up. Anyway, the reason for the point of staying in the matrimonial home, and this is based on my own experience, many gentlemen that are friends of mine, and also guys that I've coached on my Clarity business as well, is you don't have any bargaining position when you leave the matrimonial home. A lot of guys that I've talked to on the Clarity platform have just picked up and left. They've, their wife announced that they were over the marriage. He calls her a bitch and gives her a shove, and 10 years for nothing, and that's it. And then they walk out of the house and they leave. That's the biggest mistake you can make, is to leave the home before you have a signed parenting plan. The reason for that is it is your only bargaining position. Everything in family law has been constructed and written to protect the women. And it's for a very good reason. There was a good period of time where a lot of losers would, just bounce and, just stay away from the women and their kids, and that would be it. And they would have no means to take care of themselves. And I get that. I mean, there's different sides of the story. Sometimes it's the woman, sometimes it's the man. It's a combination of both, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the state, the government got involved and attempted to equalize the playing field. But the problem is they went way too far. So everything in family law now is written against you if you have the penis. There's no incentive for women to behave well. I did a video on divorce. I'll put the card up on the top right of the screen. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But there's absolutely nothing in family law that motivates women to behave well throughout the divorce process. In fact, there's many terrible things that happen. I'll let you watch that video so you can get a little more frame on what you could expect if you don't do it right. So how do you do it right, and why do you want to do it right? Well, first of all, I'm going to assume that you've got children. Most people get married for the sake of having children, so if you don't have kids, you can skip up to the latter part of this video. But when you have kids, as far as we know, this will be it. This will be the only batch that we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever we've got. That'll be it. So you got to ask yourself, do you want to be a part of their life? Do you want to have influence on their life? Do you want to have influence in decision making? Do you want to have control of money? Do you want to have access to financial resources? Or do you want to be broke and have no control? Because those are really the options. Broke and no control, or having influence and at least not being broke and having some control. So shared parenting is what you need to go for. That's the concept. It's called different things in different parts of the world. Doesn't matter what it is, but shared parenting here in Ontario basically means if I as a man spend more than 40% of my time with my child, some of you it's children, I've got one kid, then you've got a shared parenting arrangement. And you need that in writing before you leave the matrimonial home. Because if you don't, a lot of terrible things can happen. When the house sells, how much it sells for, what it's staged for, the way money flows. I'll get into money in a second. But most importantly, choices and decisions around raising the children. A lot of guys get the every other weekend screw over the daddy deal, which is a terrible plan for them and for the man. Children raised by single mothers end up in all kinds of scenarios. I'm not even going to get into those details because I've talked about it before. You can just Google it. But if you want to have influence in your children's life, if you get the every other weekend deal, your ex-wife can do whatever she wants, basically. She meets a guy and wants to move 5,000 kilometers away, she can do that. Probably a good idea to get in sixth gear. She can do that. She wants to hyphenate, change the last name, she can do that, depending on where she lives. Change schools, change religious upbringings, medical decisions, orthodontics, pulling teeth, things that you may or may not agree with, medical procedures, operations you may or may not agree with. There's all kinds of reasons why you want to have a shared parenting plan with your kids, and they just go beyond so many of the basics that I've just mentioned. Now, let's talk about money for a sec. The way that family law is written is it's designed to move money to the primary caregiver. 80% of custody orders are granted to women. Okay, I'm going to say that again. 8 out of 10 custody orders are granted to women. So it's mostly single mothers that are raising their kids. Sometimes the kids have access to their father here and there, 20-30% of the time, but it's not enough. If you want your children to grow up to be virtuous and strong and have morals and values, most of you guys already know. If you don't know, you can Google the stats, but children raised in single mother households turn out to be a disaster. Runaways, teenage pregnancies, gang-related activity. It just doesn't work out for them. I'm not going to get into all the stats and details. So, talking about money now. Family law, again, it moves money towards the parent that's a primary caregiver. Now, the problem with it is the tables are based on what the government thinks you should be paying. So even if when you're living in the home and it might cost you, let's just take a number like $400 a month in food, expenses, extracurriculars, whatever it might be, diapers, who knows. Let's say it costs you $400 a month to take care of your child. If a table says that the government wrote that you should be paying, I don't know, $3,000 a month, that's what you got to pay. So not only do you get milked for a lot of money, you don't have any control, you don't have any say in the upbringing of the kids, you don't have any power if she decides to bounce and live in another part of the world. She can make medical decisions without your consent. It can be really, really bad. So the point of the video here is you want to get divorced like a boss, stay in the matrimonial home until you have a shared parenting agreement. Things are very, very tough when you go that route. I know, I lived it for 14 months. It's the thing that I coach most guys on now. Hemis. Those guys love those cars. It's the thing that I coach most guys on now. So if you're stuck on anything, going through your divorce, or you're considering it, you're not sure how to plan it, I promise you, your wife has been planning it a lot longer than you have. Again, 80% of divorces are initiated by women, and it's mostly because desire plummets in marriages a lot quicker for women than it does for men. I'm going to leave the video at that. I think I've given you enough, because the most important thing, again, is stay in the matrimonial home until you have a signed separation and parenting plan. If you need coaching on something, because there's so many different routes you can go, a lot of questions come up out of this. If you need coaching on something, you can book my time on clarity.fm/Richard Cooper. I'll leave a link in the description. Happy to chat one-on-one. The coaching's done over the phone. You pay by the minute. Thanks for checking out the video. Smash the like button. Leave me a comment below and share an experience, guys, if you have something to add to the community. I know that a lot of you do. And if somebody needs to see this video, share it with them. We'll talk to you later. Peace.